Hey guys, Black Bill Durden here, and today I want to discuss with you my plans for the upcoming 5 years of my life. I've got a colonoscopy scheduled on the 31st of August. I should be okay. I should be fine. There's a 90% chance that I'm fine. There's a 90% chance that I'm okay, that I don't have a tumor or a cancer or something that's going to potentially be life threatening. 90% chance I'm okay, 90% chance I'm fine. And let's hope that's the case. Anyways, let's just say I'm fine, okay? And I live the next 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever many years. Let's just say AI, super intelligent AI, doesn't kill us all before the year like 2030. Let's just hope that that's the case. My light is shining in my face. You know, let's just hope that super intelligent AI doesn't kill us all by the year 2030 or 2031 or 2032 or sooner. Then my 5 year plan, essentially, okay, over the next upcoming 5 years, is to save like 100K, or to get the man that I'm seeing, who I refer to as my sugar daddy, but he's not exactly that. Um, but he's the man that I'm seeing, that I'm kind of in a relationship with, who's taking me on holidays to Japan in November. It's not September, it's going to be November. I was talking to him recently over Instagram. He said he's only going to be able to go on a trip in November, so he's going to take me to Japan in November. My plan is to either get him to pay for my surgeries or to save up 100K and get those surgeries myself. Now, essentially, let's talk about the um, my next 5 years, the 5 year plan that I have set out for myself, essentially. So, first and foremost, I want to save like 100K to get my surgeries, or I want to get this guy to pay for my surgery. Before I even undergo a surgery, I want to lose weight, okay? I want to lose body fat. My goal is to get down to around 75 kilograms body weight. At the moment, I weigh around 101, maybe 102. So getting down to 80, maybe 75 is going to take at least 6 to 7 months or longer. If I'm losing about a kilogram a week, which is what I plan to be losing, then it should only take around maybe 5 months, 6 months to get down to 80. To get down to 75, it should take about 6 or 7 months. Um, so that's my first kind of plan of action, is basically lose as much weight as humanly possible without losing too much. So get lean without getting too lean, without losing too much weight, lose weight without losing too much, get lean without getting too lean, you know, and then go for my first procedure in 5 or 6 months, or maybe somewhere in the middle in between there. Um, so I already asked him if he could potentially pay for me to get a forehead reshaping surgery, and he said he's going to call me tomorrow and he's going to discuss it with me. So let's just say he goes through with this and he decides to pay for my forehead reshaping. That's going to be the first surgery under my belt. Okay, forehead reshaping would be the first procedure under my belt. Then I want to get my Bimax to make my face more symmetrical, you know, and then I want to get implants in my midface. I want to get my jawline recontoured. I want to get potentially a rhinoplasty, but probably not. Probably not going to touch my nose, but potentially I might get a rhinoplasty. I want to get a hair transplant. I think that's going to be my second surgery. A hair transplant after the forehead reshaping. And a a beard transplant as well. So all of these facial surgeries and also a cranioplasty to even out my skull, all of these surgeries, all these facial surgeries are gonna come out to around 30 to 40K, maybe around 30K, at the lowest, maybe 40K maximum if I get them done in Turkey. In Turkey, not with giant implants, not with, sorry, where's my tattoo of giant? Not with giant implants because he charges way too much for his procedures. And I mean, he's always going to say, oh, you have a poor poverty mindset, a poverty mentality, and that's why, you want to cheap out and get the least expensive surgeries and you don't want to come to me. And it's like, giant, it's like, that's all well said and done. The fact that guys have this poor mindset and they just want to go and get the cheapest procedures. But it's like, it's not that easy to make money. Giant thinks that anyone can become successful and rich if they just set their mind to it. It's like, how long is it going to take me to get to a point where I'm making like 100K a year? You know, when I have no university degree, my only experience in terms of workplaces is working in retail and working in hospitality and warehouses. You know, how am I going to get myself to make 100K a year or more? Or how am I going to become a millionaire? I'm not going to become a millionaire in 5 years, probably not in my entire lifetime. And it's like somebody said, you only have to sell an item on the internet 5,000 times for 200 euros to become a millionaire, to make a million, right? Well said and done, but what the fuck am I gonna sell 5,000 times for 200 fucking euros? It's like, okay, I could get into game development. I could make a video game using AI, which is what I'm actually doing at the moment. I'm making a video game with AI using a program called Lovable. And but it's even then, even if I make a game and it's good, how am I going to successfully sell it? I could try the Google Play Market, I could try sell it online somehow on Google, but again, like what's what is the probability that my game is going to sell? What's the probability that my game is going to become a hit and is going to sell? Well, then make a masterpiece. Well, then make a game that is a masterpiece. Easier said than done, right? So the chances of me successfully creating a product that will sell a lot of copies over the next couple of months or year or 2 years is very slim. You know, I'm not a carpenter. I can build you a table. I can build you a chair. I can build you, you know, a fucking counter of some kind. I can build you, I can probably build a wardrobe similar to this given enough material and enough time. And I could probably sell it for like a K. But the thing is, the material cost, you know, and the labor time that it takes to produce something like this is not worth the money. It's not worth the payoff because there's not really much of a payoff because the material that it would cost to build something like this is worth hundreds of euros and I would only make a couple of hundred euros profit, and I cannot build 5,000 of these fucking wardrobes in, I don't know, less than 5 months and sell them all in less than 5 months, and make a million. So, I most likely will not be a millionaire in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, five. Unless maybe, I find a really ingenious way to make money and I really hustle and, I really strive to make a lot of money. And then maybe, just maybe it's possible, right? Maybe, just maybe there is the potential, maybe, just maybe. But let's get back to the point. You know, I cannot afford to go to Giant. You know, I could never afford to go to Giant with the prices that he is charging right now. I don't want to ask the man that I'm seeing, that I am in a relationship with, to pay tens of thousands of euros for me to go to Giant. And I am certain the Giant is one of the best at what he does, but because of how much he charges, I would rather cheap out, go to Turkish surgeons who are decent and have a decent reputation and get my surgeries with them instead, you know? And so I'm going to cheap out. I'm going to go to Turkish surgeons who have decent reputations, who have a decent success rate with their clients. And I'm going to get my forehead reshaped. I'm going to get implants in my mid face. I'm going to get potentially a Bimax. I am going to get a Bimax because I need to correct that asymmetry in my face. I'm going to get potentially a rhinoplasty, beard transplant. Before I get all of that, I might potentially get laser skin resurfacing and maybe a hair transplant first before I get all the facial surgeries. But we're going to see about that in the coming next 6 months, year, potentially. I want to work remotely. There is a school community set up by Irish lads who are running a tech sales company. And I got invited to this school community, but I have to pay 200 euros to get into it, which is a discount rate because he typically charges 440. The owner typically charges 440 euros for people to get into that school community, and so he's giving me a discount. He's letting me join for 200, and so potentially I could get a job out of that, and that would be a remote job that I would do from home, that I would work from home, and I would not have to go and leave my house and physically go to a workplace for. And then there's also, you know, so it's lose 20 kilos, 20 to 25 kilograms of body weight, of body fat, lose that first. Then try to get all of my surgeries within the next 5 years, all of my facial surgeries within the next 5 years. There is also surgeries for my body that I want to get, specifically a pelvis osteotomy, because my pelvis is quite wide and it got wider when I had acromegaly. In fact, my entire frame kind of got fucked, but it's possible to largely repair that so that it looks better. Fat loss is going to do a lot for me because I have photos of myself from last year when I was around 83 kilos and I looked pretty okay. My frame looked pretty okay when I was around that body weight, so getting lean will temporarily mitigate the downsides of the bone structure overgrowth, bone overgrowths. I will look better when I'm lean. I will look numerous times better when I'm lean. But the long-term goal is to also get frame surgery, to also get surgeries on my frame to make my pelvis narrower, to make my back flatter, to make my ribcage flatter, to make my clavicles wider. So all of that is probably going to come out to like 100K on its own, maybe less, maybe 70, 80K, maybe 60 to 70 to 80K on its own. I know Giant is charging 40K for a pelvis osteotomy, Pelvis osteotomy up until like 2 years ago, up until like maybe 6 months ago, was considered impossible. But I was speaking to Giant in the last like 4 months, and he's telling me that it's possible to perform a pelvis osteotomy to make a pelvis narrower. He's telling me that it's possible. And so if it's possible, then I will definitely, most definitely try to get it, you know. And so, yeah. And then once I've gotten all of my procedures and everything else, I mean, then I'm free to slay. Just go out and slay. And I mean, I have amazing potential. I'm already a decent looking guy. I have a good base. I'm like a high tier normie and I have a good base. Oh my God, with the right amount of, with the right surgeries, you know, all of them in combination, I could be absolutely stunning. I could be absolutely stunning. I mean, I could be walking down the street, I could walk into a room and I could have women begging me to fuck them. you know, like that's the potential that I have, and even if you might not see it, it's there, like, no, really, it's there. I think anyone with a good eye for aesthetics can see it, that the potential is there because the base is there. So the potential to look that good, to be that attractive as a man, is definitely there. I quit smoking yesterday. That's a lie because I actually smoked a cigarette today, one. When I went to town, I asked the guy for a cigarette and I smoked one. But that was my last one ever. Like, I am never smoking cigarettes again because it has been a monumental waste of money over the past 5 or 6 years that I've been smoking. And, it can potentially kill me in the future if I don't quit. So I have to quit now before it's too late. And I quit drinking last year in December. On the 6th of December, I had my final drink. And so I will never drink again. I promised myself that I will never consume alcohol again, you know? And so as long as I don't consume alcohol and I don't smoke cigarettes and I continue to look smacks, I continue to lose weight, drop body fat, get lean, save money, find a way to make money remotely online because I cannot work a 9 to 5. I cannot work a standard job. I've tried. I just don't get along with normies. I always happen to get fired, bullied at work. I always have very bad workplace experiences in normal workplaces and day-to-day jobs. I always have the absolute worst experiences in these places, you know, to the point where I do not want to work a standard job ever again in my entire life. I never want to leave my house and physically have to go and show up at a workplace ever again because my experiences with workplaces since I started working at the age of 20 have been overwhelmingly negative, you know? So I really have to lock in and find a way to make money remotely online from the comfort of my home. And so that's about it. That's about it. That's my 5 year plan. Over the next 6 months to 7, maybe 8 months, get lean, get down to about 80, 75 kilos, and over the next 5 years, either get this man that I'm in a relationship with who's making really good money over in the States working in mines in the States, get him to pay for or to fund or to finance all of my surgeries. Or I can get him to finance some of them and I can save up for the rest of them myself. Or I can try to work remotely somehow, hustle, make money, and save up the necessary amount of money that I need over the next 5 years, which is absolutely possible, absolutely doable. If I'm smart, if I save, if I don't unnecessarily spend money on stupid shit. I can absolutely save up enough money over the next 5 years to get all of my procedures done. Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. 150, 100, 200%. You know, I could even find potentially another sponsor for my surgeries. But I don't think that that's really in the cards. I think this guy is the only option that I have, so I'm going to try to get him to sponsor my procedures. But that's my 5 year plan. I hope to come out after 5 years as one of the most handsome, the biggest moggers that the world has ever witnessed. And I have the potential for that. I have the potential for that. So that's all. This was Black Belt Durden. I'm going to go to sleep now, and I'll see you guys in the next video.